Hey everybody, welcome back to ogresspeedshop, and of course we got the shop duck down here. So today we're going to go from repairing metal to replacing metal. So we've already done the doors. We replaced some of the metal in the doors, repaired it. So we got no more holes in the door, well, no more big holes, we still got a couple little holes. But we're going to get into repairing the floor pans and rocker panels. So we got a really bad rocker panel on the passenger side, and Dick is being very boisterous today. And lots of rust on this side for the floor pan. As you can see, we got a nice big hole there. That was actually covered up by a piece of galvanized steel with the galvanized metal. But anyways, that's what we're doing in this video, is we're going to replace these, we're going to patch these floor panels in here. Since we didn't really, I'll get into more on why we're going with the patches over a full floor. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So these are the panels we've got so far. We've got the both the floor panels, the driver's side rocker, one of the inner rockers. The other two are coming from Georgia, and they should be here Monday. I think today's Saturday. So what we got to do is figure out how these things go in here, because one thing I do notice is basically from this area to there doesn't need to be there. And neither does the piece going down, because this inner rocker replaces that section of the metal. So, but we'll get into all that, figure out how these things fit in. We got a lot of good areas to line up with. We got that hole right there, which is
I really should have taken my own advice on this one.
So once we line that up,
later on in the
then
video
the rest
what
of
I'm
it should
talking
just
about.
fall into place. But first thing we got to do, well, first thing we got to do is remove the doors, because if we're doing rockers, we need the door out of the way. And then we got to cut some areas in here to figure out exactly where and what we need to cut on that. Let's go ahead and get these doors off. All right, we got those off, and that was a little unexpected problem getting the driver's side door off. See my door switch that I installed for the lights. For whatever reason, all of a sudden there's a hole here. And it got caught on that and wouldn't let go. So that means I gotta buy a new switch, because that got damaged in the process. So, but maybe, I don't know, I'll have to check, but it's definitely bent. I have to do something about that. We'll see if it works still or not, but we got the doors off, and now we can start taking a look at the rockers and the floor and see what we got to do to change them out. That's definitely going to look a lot better than the original. So this is a whole complete section of the truck. So once we get it ground down a little bit around the areas, should be able to get some spot welds out of there, and it should come out pretty easily for the most part. So, and what we can't get with spot welds, we will cut with the grinder and then make it. I think one of the first things I need to do is figure out a better way of getting this truck cab up off the ground, because right now I have one of the jack stands underneath the rocker panel. So I think what I'm gonna do, I wanna make it roll, because I'd like to get it out from on top of the frame too, because the frame's nice. I'm gonna be cutting and grinding and welding. So I don't wanna get all that spatter and everything on the freshly painted and refurbished frame. So I think what we got to do is get this. So I'm going to strip everything off of it too. So I'm going to get everything out of it, get the gauges out, get all the wiring out, get the steering column out, everything out of it. So there's nothing in here that can get burnt or ruined or damaged. So everything's going to come off, and then we'll figure out how to move it to get it off the frame, get it maybe moved over here, and go from there. Or maybe just move the frame over some and keep it where it's at. I don't know. We'll figure out something. I'm gonna probably build something that mounts off of this little eyelet, because it's pretty strong, so I get to hold it up pretty easily. And maybe like a stand with wheels, so it can be rolled around and moved. We'll figure something out, and we'll do it as we go. All right, so I've been spending my morning playing around with this rocker. And as you see, I got a lot of it broken loose. A lot of it was just glued on with seam sealer. There's only like 1, 2, 3, like 4 spot welds on this side, and like 3 on this side. And there's a few along here, but they were all rusted away. So So that really doesn't really matter too much. There's a few going down this way too. And I've actually been using my little sander here to make it work, or to get the in the areas that I don't want to drill through. I've been using that to sand it down until it pops loose. And like this one right here, I obviously drilled through because this piece is getting replaced as well. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I should be getting this rocker off pretty soon. And I know a lot of people are thinking you should be bracing that with everything, but the floor's still intact and holding it together from this point to this point up here. So from front to back. So it shouldn't be an issue. And it hasn't flexed even a little bit since I pulled these off. So I don't think it's gonna be an issue as long as I keep that floor in place or the rocker in place at all times. If I start seeing it flex, I'll brace it, but I don't think it's gonna be necessary. So, but yeah, we got that part down, and down below there's gonna be a few spot welds that need to come out to get this whole piece out. But other than that, get a couple spot welds right here, and then gotta work the bottom area. And we should be good to get this rocker off and get to see all the nastiness inside. Well, yeah, and the best part, this isn't the worst one. Well, technically it's the worst one on the floor side of it, but that side, the rocker's worse underneath it. So, but anyways, they both need replaced, and since they're cheap enough, you know, might as well replace them. I can't remember how much I paid for those. I think they were only like in the 30s, maybe 30 bucks or something like that. I'll have to look again, but I got all 6 pieces, 2 floor pans, 2 rockers, and 2 inner rockers for $144 shipped, or $152 shipped, after they added that $9.99 for the oversized package for one of the floors. But other than that, man, 144 bucks to fix most of the metal in the floor. And the other pieces, I could probably just use some 18 gauge and, you know, make these pieces, because they're pretty flat for the most part. So I don't think it'll be an issue. So, and the floor goes all the way back to this area. So I've just got to be worried about from here back. But that's what we're doing. And we're getting some rockers taken off here. All right, so we got this whole thing cut out except for the very bottom now. And look at all that fun stuff in there. 50 plus years of dirt and grime. Gotta love it. So, gotta get up underneath there now and get the rest of that cut out, find the spot welds and get that cut out, and should be it for this side. And we can test fit the new one. All right, so we got all those spot welds drilled out. You would think it would just pop right off, but of course not. So rusty. But let me pop these out with a chisel, and I'll be back when I get it off. All right, there you have it. There is the rocker panel off. Look at all that dirt that came out of it, dirt and rust. Oh yeah. All right, we'll test fit the new one here. I think this thing will probably fit pretty dang good. I haven't cleaned up any of the chunks of metal off of it yet, but of course the one piece is getting in the way. So this is all getting replaced as well, so I'm not too worried about it. But just a couple chunks. I think that'll do just fine. Just like that, brand new rocker panel. There we go. So there's definitely a little bit of flex on the rear there. But we'll pull it all in when it comes time for it, but it's really not that much. It's only because there's nothing attached on the outside here, so if I pull it in before I weld it, then we'll be good to go. All right, so what I've been doing is fitting the inner rocker now, and it goes back behind this panel, and there's a little arch right here I had to cut out, and I still gotta do some work on that. It's not quite there, but it'll be better once I get the old material out. I was gonna make a little filler piece here for it as well, maybe a little in the back, but still needed the front. I gotta figure out this. I don't know why these holes are here, they don't line up. You know, so I'm just lining up with the back, and then I'll do something up here to make it work. Maybe I'll make it a drain hole or something, I don't know. But either way, this floor pan will cover this area here. And, well, maybe not. But I think I need to make a piece back there anyways, because it's kind of dinged up as well. But yeah, that's where we're at. I'm just modifying the inner to make it fit better by putting a little arch in the back there. You can see the holes lined up. It's just not down all the way because the material is still, the old material is still there. So, but it's centered at least. So this is the area of the floor pan that this needs to go right in this area. So we gotta make this fit onto here basically. Most of this side panel is gonna be gone. I probably won't use much of that because I'm replacing this whole panel. So I'm gonna trim that down to make it fit better, which is, you know, pretty much all that. So just to kind of give a rough idea of how these things go together. If you look right here, I got the inner rocker attached to the floor pan patch. See, on the original metal, the floor pan and the outer or the inner rocker are one piece. So that's all one piece of metal. So all those curves and everything are all integrated into each other. So on this, to replace it, and this is just what I've discovered as I'm going, I'm gonna keep this whole section of the floor all the way back to here. Then I'm gonna have to roll the very top of this to create the roll on this area right here, like right here. So that's gonna be fun to do, I gotta admit. But so I gotta figure out exactly where I need to cut it back to on here. And like I said, I'm gonna keep this area and I'm gonna cut whatever I need here to fit up to this point on the top. Because that way I've already got the natural curve of this, at least up to about this point here, where it becomes the seat pan. So then all I have to do is come up with an area around here that needs to be replaced with some 18 gauge. And just make us like a quick, small, little patch piece. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do is, you can see I got this inner brace marked. I started cutting it too. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna combine this with this floor pan piece right here, basically. So I'm gonna cut this down. I'm gonna use the bottom half of this piece and the top half of that piece, and then combine them together to make one. And that's how I'm gonna do this this section right here. And the back here is just gonna be where it's at. I clean it up and make a filler panel right there and make that all look better, and yeah. So that's what we're doing. This is gonna be rolled over too at some point. The top of the very top of this, I'm gonna have to roll it over a little bit because the original floor right here, it rolls nicely. So we gotta put a little roll on it. All right, so that's what that piece is looking like right now. So I still have to cut the old piece out, but I think I'm gonna maybe roll this over first to give me that nice little area and to match this area. That's basically what I gotta match it to, is this part right here. All right, so I got that bent down over a little bit. Probably needs a little bit more, but I started doing it on the truck, but with all that metal being so rusted away, it just kept slamming in there, and it ended up bending it more on this side here where it was angled in. So I made this real quick. Just a little dolly over here with a nice curve on it that came close to matching up with the curve of this one here. So just started hammering on that, and we got it looking pretty good right there. So I'm happy with that so far. I think once I cut the metal out, it's gonna make it even better. Definitely got a lot of repair work, other metal here to do. So basically this area all around here is gonna need to be replaced. Because from here forward is gonna be a new pan. But yeah, so we're getting closer to getting this thing ready to go in fully. Gotta do some more work on this area here to clean it up and make it look good and whatnot. and then fit the pan. That's gonna be probably the hardest part because of the way it's designed. You're being talkative today there, Dick. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So if you don't have the tool, make it. Well, we definitely got some fine tuning to do, but this is getting a lot closer to being ready to put in, or being shaped to where it needs to be put in. You can see up here, it's not, I don't have it in behind the frame here, but it's okay because it's flexible enough that it doesn't really matter. But so yeah, we're getting this piece into shape pretty good. I'm going to trim this to match the line with this. So it's going to be straight back. So that way, because this metal back here is actually pretty decent. So the less I got to cut, the better. I already marked the line on the truck, the cab portion behind this, so I know where to cut, and definitely need to do some repairs because you see where the line's going to be at. So, but yeah, we're getting there. There's a little glimpse into the future. So we got the rocker panel just clamped in there. We got the inner rocker panel on there. Still got to do the front floor pan. That's going to be the part that takes most work because there's a lot of area up here that needs to be fitted and trimmed and whatnot. So, and but yeah, it's definitely looking good. I like it. And it's definitely better than holes in the floor. So we're on to the next day now, and one of the things about these floors is the new floor pan is one piece and it goes up all the way to here, whereas this one stops right there at that line. Well, that's also rusted out, so it's a good thing I'm doing it. But here's the funny thing is, I don't know if you can see or not, let me shine a light. See all these little holes that I drilled? That's so I know where the frame's at, the actual like support for the cab mount out here. And so I did that so I know where I'm gonna be cutting to get the floor out. But it also goes down and it's part of the side piece right here. So this is actually part of the floor pan. And it goes up to about this point here. And as you can see on the new piece, it has that section in there. It goes down below, and this piece right here too. And as you can see, you know, some of the kick panel here is rusted out too. So I'll probably make a patch panel that goes up to here too, because that's the line of where the new panel goes. And there's also like a pinch rail below here in that line. And I'll probably do some kind of reinforcement on that too, because that's, you know, part of the structure of the floor. And since the new one just kind of went over that to here, so I'm not gonna, you know, I want to make sure it's supported back there as well. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing to mark the holes as far as where I need to cut from the top here. And if you look right here, that's the actual brace underneath. There's no floor left on top of it. So I'm going to clean all that up, see if there's any damage on that needs to be repaired. You can see it's kind of pitted, but I'm not too worried about that. I'll just coat it with some rust inhibitor, and it should be good on that. But that's where we're at right now. Basically just, you know, marking where I want to cut the floor so I don't cut the brace that's underneath there. And I got to figure out how I'm going to get this floor down into here and get all this old stuff out of here. All right, so with a little bit of prying and bending and cutting, I got this corner of the what's it called? The kick panel cut out. Got a little bent up there, but we'll see about repairing that whole thing anyways. So now I can actually get the floor pan down in between. See, the gap opens up now. But the biggest problem is the fact that there's a brace here, which is the main cab brace. And then there's a brace back here, which is your the cab mount brace. So there's one of the cab mounts is right up underneath there. So, and it's tack welded in a couple places on that. So definitely got to play around with that a little bit, get the brake loose. Most of it's rusted, so it's breaking off pretty easily. But even this piece right here, that's part of the floor, so that's gonna be coming out anyways. So all the way up to about this area right here is gonna be all new flooring. So shouldn't be too bad once we get it all figured out and what needs to come out and separate everything. But yeah, it's a work. It's a job. There's no doubt about it. So I want to get the frame out from underneath the body. So when I'm grinding and welding, it doesn't get spattered on. So I got an idea for this. So you get to go along with me and watch in high speed, of course. But I got a pretty good plan for this. So let's get into it. And also the plan doesn't include having to move any of the cars out of here. So let's get into it. Well, it accomplished what I wanted. Now I'm kind of stuck behind here, but I think I can get it. I can maneuver it out just by moving some of these other things around. But I tried it from the other side. I was going to try to lift it up so they had all this room over here. But the boom, again, ain't long enough. And I was just going to bow the roof, and I didn't have any kind of bar to go across it to counteract the weight and all that good stuff. So just switch sides, and we got it out from underneath there now. So now I can move it around at will, which will be cool. Well, we got her in a little more workable area now. Put the frame back here so it's out of the way. I can still get to the stuff back there. Not the bottom drawers, but I don't think there's anything in there that I need to worry about. But so yeah, it gives me plenty of room up here now. I don't have to worry about damaging the frame that I spent all that time fixing or cleaning and painting and stuff. So it does look good though. So now we can continue on with doing some more cutting on the floor pans in here. All right, so I've been doing a little cutting. I've been wanting to get, all I wanted to do was get this one piece out of this side here, which was this piece right here, which is the last piece of the floor pan up front here. And yeah, it was being a pain in the butt. You see that torn metal right there? That would not come loose from this bracket. So yeah, finally got it out though, and that's all the stuff I cut out so far. But now it should be easier to at least fit the pan in there, because all the metal that was stopping it before is now out of there. So, but now you got a nice big hole here. But that's okay. We have that, and a rocker panel over there to fill it. So we're good to go. We are getting a lot closer. You see I have the panel down inside in between the brackets now. Problem I'm running into right now is I can't bring it this far enough out this way because I didn't cut enough out of here. You can see up in here how that tab right there needs to come this way further, along with some of these other parts. You see we're still quite a ways away from the frame, but we are getting closer. And I haven't cut the hole to fit it yet. I just cut it minimal out till we can get it to where we can size it up properly. So we definitely need to cut that corner out. I don't, this area back here, and you get that, some more of that out of there. And we can get that to go in a little further and start working the metal a little bit to make it fit properly and get it to line up. Because this, you can see right here, the indentation where the dimmer switch goes. This edge needs to go right here. So we're still quite a ways over that way towards the middle. So, but we're getting there. So this is what I've actually cut so far. But I did get all the metal out between the two braces right there, which is good. So that means the new piece can go down between those and just be it's gonna be spot welded and clamped. I have to bend all this back and clean it all up first, obviously. But it's gonna be a lot better than it was when I got it with all the holes in it. But yeah, so that's what it looks like right now. Just gotta do some more trimming on the hole. All right, so a lesson I just learned on these AMD, god dang cables, cords. These AMD pans, they're good quality overall. You just gotta be mindful that they made this fit for one of the manual transmission pans, or manual transmission tunnels. So a removable tunnel. This had a lip on it. I'm sitting here trying to get it to line up, and I'm like, it's not even coming close to the tunnel, thinking that this ridge right here was to here, but it's actually the one to here. So I was off a little bit on that. So I cut that ridge off of there, and I think it's designed to go like down inside here for the removable transmission tunnel. But just, you know, be mindful of that if you ever get these. All right, we definitely got it fitting a lot better now. Let's see if I push down over here, it puts it into place on this edge. Just gotta push it down a little bit more in a couple other places. But the thing is I'm cutting that part out. So I'm basically I think I'm gonna go ahead and throw some self-tappers in some areas just to hold it down in place. And then I'll trace out the area and go ahead and start cutting to fit it. You see how this comes out over here? That was that area I had to trim back a little bit more to get that to come through. But now it's got the area. This needs to be flipped up through. Could probably flip this too, like cut and bring this up. But we'll work on all that as we go. But this is lining up good with the curve, especially once I, you know, put it in place. So that and the this piece here, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it off to match this, and then I'll weld it together here. Maybe I'll put a flange on it so it kind of fits behind us. I can have a nice weld line. We'll see. I do have a flanging tool. Might as well use it, right? All right, so we got a couple of cell tappers just hold it in place. So now I'm gonna go ahead and trace the lines out. And of course, I'll leave extra material, especially in that corner over there, because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do over there yet. Because it's cut right here from the factory to make that bend. And it doesn't really fit that well, so we're gonna have to trim it a couple places to make it work, or, you know, hammering it into place, one of the two. So that's what we're at on that. So we're gonna trace it out so we know where to cut. And then, yeah, that'll be the next step. Get a shot of what it looks like with the rest of it in there. So now I know how much I gotta cut off of this and where I gotta cut it. So just gotta connect the dots, basically. And again, I'll leave extra material to really dial it in once we get to where we're putting everything actually in for good. And there we go. All right, so this morning I've been just kind of trimming and cleaning up, trying to get in here to clean up all the rusty metal. I gapped it out there and just used a wire wheel. Oh yeah, earlier this morning I went in and I got my ears lowered, so I got a nice haircut today. And so yeah, this is actually, metal's cleaning up pretty nicely on the inside here. And I'll spray the rust down that I can't wire wheel with some rust inhibitor or rust reformer or something. And then bend all these brackets back to where they're supposed to be. And then get everything tied in together again. And we should be good to go. But this is what I've been doing this morning, is just cleaning up metal. So no reason to record because it's pretty boring just sitting here watching me grind. But anyways, so that's what well, I made a small little snafu. It ain't a big deal, but see that gap right there? Cut too much out of this because it didn't dawn on me until afterwards. I should line up the body mount bolt, or the cab mount bolt first. And that way everything's lined up the way it's supposed to. And I cut this before I did that. So this is a FYI for anybody doing this. Make sure you just get that lined up first before you make your final marks and cuts on your pan. See, I still haven't cut the top here yet, so that's still good. Around that edge over there is still good. And so this is the only bad spot. Otherwise, it's pretty good right now. Still has to come all the way back out because I got to drill some holes in here to clear those. Yeah, just got to line stuff up, make it all work. And that's lining up a little better now up there. And it'll be better once I cut it too, because that should fit down in there. And if it doesn't, well, I'll make it fit, because that's what we do around here. We make stuff fit. So that's where we're at. It's about ready to be burned in. This rear piece, I did make a flange. If you look right there, it's a little step down to fit against that. But I gotta do some more trimming on this and these turns, these curves, these corners. They need to be sharper. Like, this is what this came like. So I'm gonna make that as sharp as this. So that way they line up better. But that's all we gotta do. And then we can get this piece in here, then we can do the rocker afterwards. So back here I ran into some, there's some definitely some corrosion back here. So I went ahead and cut this piece out. It goes in the corner here. And I'm just gonna basically make the areas that were well rusted out, just kind of patch those and then weld this whole piece back in. The reason why I cut it out that way is so I could get back here and cut more of the floor back to get this piece in further and to line it up on there. So I'll go in here, I'll weld this when it's time. I'll weld that all together, and still gotta make a piece up here to patch it together. This needs to be moved in a little bit and adjusted. It's kind of like that. So in this piece right here, I'm gonna cut this flush at the top here. Still have to bend these corners in a little bit tighter on the floor pan piece, but I gotta get it out first. And then I'm gonna do the flange on the bottom half of this, so they'll mesh together down here. But that's what I'm doing there, and that's where I'm at. So I gotta make patch pieces. This right here, this corner piece needs to be patched. I have to add a little bit of sliver right there because they end up being off a little bit. This is all a learning experience for me. It's the first time I've ever done a truck like this, and only the second vehicle I've done any kind of metal work or body work on. So, you know, bear with me here, I'm learning. But anyways, that's where we're at right now. So basically take everything off again and start modifying this, getting these bends proper. And that's pretty much all I gotta do for this piece. And then drill the holes out here, and then I can clamp and bolt them together and then spot weld them when it's time to put them in. All right, so I went ahead and trimmed this down to where it's a butt weld at the top now. And I put a flange on the bottom, as you can see. Flange it so it can go behind this piece, make for a little better weld. So we're good on that piece now. Just got to just do some trimming over here and modifications over here and add a piece basically. So other than that, we're good on this side, and we will be good on this side once we fill that panel. All right, so this is where we're at. I kind of messed up, and the reason why, because I didn't think to do that center bolt for the cab mount first to center everything. And I ended up cutting some pieces out here, and as you can see, there's a big gap there, and there's areas that didn't quite line up right. So if you do this, make sure you do that as a primary mounting point first before you cut any of the rest of the floor out, because now I got to do some filler pieces on some of the areas. I haven't cut the top yet, or the firewall portion yet. Because there's a little bit of a gap right there. It's because I had to push this down to make it fit the framework underneath there. So I got it all screwed or self-tapered in there right now on the framing area. So that's all where it needs to be. And so now the rest is just gonna kind of massage it a little bit to work on the center area there, because I cut that too. And for the most part, that'll be all right, but definitely need some work on that as well. But overall, it's going to be fine. You know, it'll be covered up with something, whether it be carpet or rubber mat or whatever I decide to put in here. So, but, you know, I can patch it and fill it. I'm still going to do a patch piece over here, so that probably helped that area there anyways. But, yeah, that's where we're at with it. And I just put the rocker on there just to show where we're at on that. But, yeah, we're still doing good. We just took some steps early that we should have waited on, to where we had this all dialed in first before we worried about cutting the rest of it. But we definitely have to get all this area out here before you do anything. Otherwise you can't get the side of the pan down inside where it needs to go. You know, like I said, this is only the second sheet metal I've done on a vehicle. The first one was a Firebird. And, you know, I'm still learning, trying to figure it all out. But yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Gotta learn somehow, right? Even at 51, well, almost 52. So the next little area I'm dealing with here is this section where it goes into the tunnel. And there's a couple little areas that I need to play around with, but I basically stuck it on there and just ground down or cut it with the cutoff wheel as it was sitting there. And as you get up to this point right here, you can see how it's, I'm sliding around on my dolly here. You can see how it's picked up right here. And this needs to go down quite a bit. And I think because of this cut right here and this little area in the corner here just needs to be bent and moved over a little bit to make it work. So I'm going to work on that, and when I get it figured out, I'll come back and show you what I did. All right, so I've pretty much got this area dialed in now, about around the training tunnel. You do a little bit of work up here. I cut into the pan right there, which I didn't mean to do. But, so now it's just a matter of getting it to fit and clear everything. But I got this down to where it needs to be, just by hammering it and bending and doing all that good stuff. But overall, we're getting there. So now I got a better idea where to put everything to actually bring it into place, and then I can make my final cut on the firewall there, and then we can start burning this thing in. That worked out really good there. So I hammered this down a little bit, and if you look right there, this seam or this crease or this cut that they had in the pan originally, once I got it into position here, that opened or spread out to where it's pretty much even with each other. So I'll cut that to make sure it's straight. But other than that, that's pretty good. That was overlapped about at least a half an inch before. So this top here was overlapped clear over here. So bending it into position, got to where it needed to be, and I'm happy with that. So we can take the whole thing out now and start prepping everything. Well, I'll cut that first, and then start prepping everything to be burned in properly and fully. So let's get that done. Let's get this pan out of here so we can get everything ready for welding. And just like that, we got a nice big hole in the floor. But that will be solved soon. Well, I was trying to avoid removing too much stuff out of the truck, but as you can see, I removed everything off the truck. So everything off the front, all the booster, pedals, everything. So now that's all out of the way for me to do the floor pan properly. The steering wheel is the biggest thing. But I was also worried about the wire getting burnt while I was welding and grinding and stuff like that. So we're better off like this. And I didn't realize that these dashes actually bolt in. See the bolts in there, but I don't know how they attach to the window area. So I don't want to like unbolt it and it not come out and it'd be stuck or something. So let me know down in the comments if you know how that comes out. If it just unbolts and it's just kind of like seam sealed up there or what. I know they blob something right there in the middle. But who knows? So now I can get in there and cut the rest of the old floor out and get the floor, get everything prepped and coated so we can weld in the new piece. All right, so I got most of it prepped and ready to be welded on in the areas where it will be welded. All around the, oh, missed that area right there. I need to do, but I think what I'm gonna do is drill some holes through this. I'm gonna weld it up through. That way, you know, the spot welds are minimized on the top and they're mostly underneath. So I think that's what I'm gonna do for that. And yeah, but that's pretty much it. Got a couple areas left on this I gotta grind down, that's it. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like once it goes in. Everything's cut and lined up now. You know, I still gotta fill this gap that I screwed up with over here, but everything else is good. So I said I just gotta do some cleanup, some rust reforming or rust-free inhibitor underneath, and drill some holes in the frame. I also discovered this too, that this frame is not attached to this one. It's just loose in there now. So I think before I cut this one out, I'm gonna go in here and weld up the edges of this just so it doesn't come apart like it did over here. So hopefully that doesn't screw it up too bad. All right, so I'm prepping the pan for install on the truck, and I added the dimmer switch bar. You see how I spot welded it there and ground it down, and I still need to add the pedal bar that goes right over here where these the little ball things that still gotta order them. But that's gonna go back here on the back side to mount the accelerator pedal to. So it's gotta be done back there, like that. So all I'm doing to mount this is I'll show you real quick. So I take the bar and I stick it on top where it would be. Then I'm gonna use a center punch to mark the holes. So now we're gonna drill the holes where these the little mounts for the bottom of the pedal will go. So I'll drill those out. Then I'll put this bolt back in, and I'll drill like 3 holes here to spot weld this to it, and then go from there. All right, so I got the holes drilled for the pedal assembly. And also, when I spot weld, especially when I'm spot welding down through, I want to grind that off so it's smooth. So I'll drill a little bit like a valley where I'm going to be spot welding at. So that way it takes more weld that way. Just something I do for spot welding when I want to grind this down flat afterwards. All right, so we got that one all welded in now too. So we got both the mounting points, one for the dimmer switch and one for the soon-to-be new gas pedal. Pretty sure that the pan is ready to go. So we can, that could be ready to be welded in. Once it's in, there's some areas where you need to fold up on the edges, but you know, it's gotta be in first. And next thing I gotta do is treat, well, first of all, grind down the areas where I'm gonna be welding from underneath this frame here. So I'm going to clean up the underside of that, then get all this coated with some kind of rust reformer, rust inhibitor, primer or something. Clean up as much as I can underneath, and then that way we'll be protected for, you know, at least as long as I live. So then we'll get that pan welded in after that. All right, so we got the whole area prepped. I know this area doesn't look like it, but that's accessible with the pan on there, so not too worried about that. So now we just put the pan on, and we can start getting it attached and welded permanently. So that's what we're gonna do. So the pan's in now, and we just gotta get in there and get everything lined up properly and get her welded in. So we're definitely a lot closer. But I'm sure there'll be some trimming I have to do around a couple areas, but I'll have to maybe put a tech screw in here or self-tap or whatever you want to call it, just to hold that in place. Get this corner up here dialed in. But overall, it's in there, and that's where it's gonna be. All right, so we got the floor pan pretty much dialed in now. There's a few places up here at the top I want to trim a little bit to get it to fit and open up a gap for welding. Same up here, and this corner right here just needs a little trim. So other than that, we should be good to go. And then of course I'll have to make a filler piece for here. So close right here that almost I could almost weld it right there, but it's off still, so I'll have to do something there. I'm thinking about actually repairing this big chunky rusty area. It's solid still, but that's where the seat goes. So I don't know, I kind of want to get rid of that pitting, that severe pitting there, but we'll see. I don't know yet, but yeah, so we're almost ready to weld. Getting real close. Well, the floor pan is officially part of the truck now. I did the spot welds from the bottom all through here, and spots all around here, and then I got to do up here still. I don't know if I get that. So all these over here, got to still cut a little bit out of this right here, out of this corner, trim this a little bit to get the overlap out of there. Do some spot welds on this area here underneath, and then I got to fill a gap. So lots to do, but we're definitely, it's definitely permanent now. Okay, so I got this tacked in everywhere. So I got to do some trimming here and here. We got the inner rocker, the rear section put in. I still need to make, oh, almost fall. Still have to cut this piece out here and make it a new piece. Probably just go to like maybe right here. There's a little bit of crap right there, but just want to get rid of all this rust that's in here. And that hole right there that used to be the fuel select switch or valve. This right here wasn't originally lining up very good, but I just kind of pushed up on this area right here and it came out to match up with this. So it's just gonna, you know, do like a little filler in there. Originally I was just gonna take the old piece because it's really not that rusty and just cut out and put this back in basically. Then when I pushed up on it and it lined up, I'm like, okay, we can just leave it like that. That'd be fine. Definitely gotta make a filler back here. But other than that, the floor is looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I gotta do some work up here too. This piece right here needs to be bent up and then trimmed off to match right here. You can see all that. So still gotta weld that. I haven't welded that yet. Gotta weld down here. Just gotta make a filler piece or a new patch piece for this lower kick panel that I had to cut out that was all rusted out. So still a lot of little bits and pieces that need to be done, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way it's coming out. I know it looks kind of horrible right now, but you know, it's only partially in. And once I get to grinding it and working on it and cleaning it up, it'll be, you know, you'll barely be able to tell. You'll be able to tell, but not as much as you can right now because all the different colors. But anyways, just wanted to show you where we're at right now. And like I said, I gotta make a piece for that. And yeah, we're getting close to this side being done. Then we gotta start all over and do that side. So real quick, just wanna give you a little shot of what the rocker is gonna look like when it's in there. If I let my foot off, and I'm working my core right now because I'm trying not to roll back on my stool and hold that in place with my foot, and it ain't working very good. So, but anyways, that's what the rocker's gonna look like. So yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna do just kind of a, you know, makeshift before picture. So yeah, there was a big hole in it like that. So that's the before, and now the after. So no more holes, except for what's supposed to be there. All right, so that's what I was playing around with, filling this a little bit. I used a piece of brass to put behind there to, I think it's brass. It's something that doesn't stick to the weld. I put it behind there and filled it up as best I could, sanded it down, and it looks like that now. This could use a little bit more sanding, but I was saying to myself earlier, I was like, I'm doing all this work, making it look as good as possible, but nobody's gonna see it. It's gonna be under stuff. But, you know, I'll have a good peace of mind knowing it's looking better underneath here. Could definitely do a little bit more sanding on this. Tell you what, one of my most favorite tools is this little band file sander. It's pretty awesome. I like that one too, but that's pretty neat. You can get really in there and like really sand stuff down in different areas. So it makes it really nice. I've had that for over a year now, maybe 2 years now. And I just started using it again. I used it when I was working on the Firebird and kind of forgot I had it. But now I'm using it again. It's working great. All right, we're gonna go ahead and make this piece right here. And I was just trying to figure out exactly how much I need to do. I thought this area down here needed to be done as well, but I just ground it down and there's enough metal there I can just keep that, not have to worry about it. So I'm gonna have to go to about maybe right in here. I'd say right there's the biggest pit on the, you know, once you get over here. So just cut it out from here. Try to keep that curve as much as I can. That's why I cleaned it up around there. So I know exactly where, so I can cut it below that. There's only one spot right here that I'll have to make a little curved piece for. But I might even be able to make that area fit. I don't know yet, we'll see. We're gonna go ahead and cut this section out so we can go ahead and make a new piece. All right, so we got that cut out. And as you can see, what I cut out is pretty much flat. So it should be really easy to make it. And I'll use this as a template to make the repair piece. I have some 18 gauge that I've got stashed up there. So like the rest of this is pretty good. I could probably just go ahead and tack weld that on there. We'll see what we do about this. Maybe I can hammer and dolly that out a little bit, or maybe just cut a little sliver and make a round piece. I don't know yet, or a curver piece. We'll see. All right, got the new piece made. Now we just gotta burn her in. Well, I was doing pretty good getting this little patch piece welded in, but I ran out of wire. And since it's Friday afternoon, I don't think I can get any more today. And most places aren't open on Saturday or Sunday around here. So I gotta go wait till Monday. So it might be a good place to end this video. It's pretty long anyway, so I guess All right, they'll finish up this video. Well, not finish up. Well, they'll finish up this video of the start of doing the floor pans and rocker panels on the 1970 GMC. I ran out of wire, and it's Friday, and I can't get any until Monday. And I want to put this video out on Sunday, so yeah, on this one we got the floor pan in, got the inner rocker done, got a patch piece made, got a couple more little pieces we got to make, but other than that, you know, we got a lot done on this one. So if you like this video, leave a like down there, leave me a comment, let me know what I can do better, and subscribe if you want to. Again, I really appreciate y'all watching, especially till the end. So until next time, I will see you later.